It's now day 81. We lived through Halloween, although just barely. We're getting a very late start on the river. Slept in a little bit after overdoing it a little bit last night. Getting loaded up in the back of Greg's truck. Greg and Amy were kind enough to give us space in their 1902 Victorian here in Helena. And we got a slow start moving on after their hospitality, feeding us some breakfast and whatnot. But we're gonna get a few miles in before the day's over and make camp for Game 7 of the World Series.
Oh, yeah.
All right, y'all. Day 81.
There's a light on the horizon emanating from the bayou. You shouldn't be so surprising. You gotta get there before I come home to you.
Day 81, folks. Since we're getting such a late start, there's not going to be a whole lot of footage of the river today. We'll probably get 3 hours in, maybe 3.5. Get a few miles, but not much. I'm going to get you a little going back in time footage here, right in the back of this pickup truck. I'm going backwards for one, but here we are in essentially downtown Helena. These are the old homes. Various states of repair. Some of them are in pretty good shape. People taking care of them. Others are gone and falling apart. But this was clearly a grand town in its day. But this one's in pretty good shape right here. Look at all that dental work there. Wow. On that porch. That's something up there. All those spindles. Jeez, that's pretty. Got that minaret style turret there. Wow, that's a nice place. Big old brick squared off one over there. That's a humongous little space. That was oxymoronic. Humongous little space. Just driving through town, man. There's such a history to. Here we're on Cobblestone Street. We're just driving on bricks, y'all. Such a mix of the grand and the dilapidated, and you get just some modern nonsense thrown in here and there. I say modern because it wasn't from the early 20th century, it was from the late 20th century, so that makes it modern around here. So last night we got the footage of us taking the Mississippi shot. That was a place called Wild Hog Saloon. It was a micro bar, so that lends itself to that name. But we're also in Arkansas, Helena, Arkansas. Of course, everybody around here loves them. The Arkansas Razorbacks, and nickname there is the Hogs. So around here they call the Hogs. It could have been a football game on. I'm sure you would have been privy to some of that. I am not an Arkansas fan. I'm not opposed to them. But at one point I took second place in a hog calling competition just because I gave it my all. But they take that pretty seriously around here. Some stuff in empty lots from stuff just falling apart, and other stuff is still in good shape, and then still other stuff, more modern construction on top of what used to be. That's what you get in the old river towns. This is Helena. We're at the Dollar General, making one stop before we get on the river. Day 81 continued, leaving the Dollar General. I gotta say, and there's a lot of reasons to dislike Dollar General, but they weren't able to provide me a public restroom there, which was part of the reason I went. You know, it's always good to have a flush toilet available before you get out on the river in the wilderness. These are the types of things we take for granted in society, but when you're out in it, it becomes a priority. From just predatory pricing on on small quantities that seem like a bargain but cost 3 times as much as if you buy into some bigger bulk. To their poor labor treatment, just taking advantage of employees. Dollar General as a corporation is one that I am not keen on. But as a consumer, that's just one more reason today, that experience, to avoid utilizing their services going forward. After spending $9 on snacks and drinks to round out our morning breakfast here at 1:45 in the afternoon. No, that's my rant. Day 81. We are actually going to get on the water, I think, unless something crazy else happens. We still got a little time to make a few miles and get moving in the correct direction. I'm a little disappointed that it's taken us this long, but that sort of thing happens sometimes. We did it up last night and then paid the consequences. So here we go. Let's get on. Day 81. Day 81, folks. Getting packed up on the river. We should get in the water by 2 p.m., which makes me grimace. But it's 3.5 hours more than none. So we'll make use of it. I wanted to focus on Greg's rig over here. He's got a little TLR. He's going old school on us. A little medium format. Yeah. Shooting this thing with the ground glass on the top. Everything looks upside down.
I thought I should really take some black and white film for this one.
Got a Yashica. All right.
This was gifted to me by my friend. It's his father's.
Oh, is that right? Yeah, they don't make them anymore, that's for sure.
I've shot 2 weddings with this.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
One of these was my friend's that gave me the camera.
All right, folks, we're going to strap it down and get on the road. We'll catch up to you at least by the time we take out. Day 81, late afternoon. Given that we started mid-afternoon, late afternoon came almost immediately. This is Friars Point before us. There's not a whole lot here. It is a community out in the sticks. It does have a river component, as you can see, with some commerce going on here on the river. I think it's largely cotton farming around Friars Point, but it's a country town. I have had an argument, and it was a friendly argument, with an acquaintance that grew up here about this being the Delta. And I've heard other people refer to this whole stretch of the Mississippi River as the Mississippi Delta. Now, coming up in high school, I learned that a river delta, that term itself comes from the Greek letter delta, which is a triangle. And it's the point at which the river starts distributing off and makes a triangle shape out of its form. But people use it far more loosely here. And I don't know what they mean when they say it, or what it means to them to say it, aside from it's this region of the Mississippi. I mean, people definitely use it to refer to this area. So anyway, I guess we're in the Mississippi Delta. Day 81. Just over 3 hours of paddling has brought us here on beyond a little riprap wall. We're getting some wind break. I think we can find something level up here a little bit. And we got a big snag that if we drag the canoe up a little further, we can tie off to in case the water comes up a little bit. Didn't make much mileage. I'm thinking if we got 18 miles, I'd be happy. I think it's probably short of that, maybe 16. But we got somewhere rather than nowhere, and we'll get up and do it again tomorrow. Right now we're expecting some rain, so we're planning to put up tent expeditiously and try to ride that out in the dry of the tent rather than the elements. I'll sign off again from within the tent probably after I get it pitched. Till then, day 81. Day 81, folks. Let's wrap this thing up. I have a tent pitched. We are at Miller Point. I think We may be on private land that is part of the Miller Point Hunting Club. It is just barely on their land. Hopefully, even if they come around and notice us, they won't be terribly concerned about us. We'll be gone in the morning, so I doubt they'll... I don't know what they might be concerned about. They might be upset with us, but if they're reasonable people, they'll just recognize we need a place to stay just for the night. In any case, I think it's just a small likelihood anybody even notices we're here. But we made short time, as indicated, having a short day. Slept in way too long. And the unfortunate part of that is when we were talking yesterday, we heard that John Ruskey, I can tell you, let me back up and tell you who John Ruskey is. He is a renowned river guide for the lower Mississippi and surrounding rivers. He's a riverman, and he has built quite a few hollowed out canoes, like traditional hollowed out logs. He has them 23 to 30 feet long and maybe half a ton in weight for the big ones. These things will hold a whole bunch of people and or gear, and they weigh a lot, and they actually move quite well through the water. Jamie and I had the opportunity to paddle a 23-foot one earlier that was his design. But in any case, there's an Island 63 just downstream of here, maybe another 8 miles, that is purportedly his favorite spot to camp on the lower river. When we first heard about this yesterday, we thought, okay, well, that's too short a distance. We want to go more than 24 miles. And then with the late start, we wound up not even making it that far. So it really just a comedy of errors, as it was, of our own creation. But we're in safe. I got a tent pitched rather efficiently. Got a nice flat piece that's a piece of land that's kind of sheltered. It's up the shoreline, the angled shoreline from the beach. Our canoe is pulled up on the beach and tied off to a big snag of driftwood. So even if the water comes up, it should be in good shape. And I'm in for the night. It's just past 6 p.m. It's almost sunset. But there we have it. We'll start again tomorrow and see what we can accomplish. Day 82 is coming up. I think we might be a couple days from Greenville. I'm not sure how long those couple of days are. It was going to be 3 days, theoretically, but having a short day here, I hope we didn't beat ourselves out of the ability to make that in 3 days. We'll find out. Again, river mileage has confounded me when I'm just looking at Google Maps. But there you go. That's a wrap-up of day 81. We're back on the water rather than just zeroing it out and calling it a day. That also was a possibility. We were getting pretty close to pulling the trigger on if you're just going to get a few miles, just stay where you've got services. But we wanted to get moving, so this wouldn't happen again tomorrow. But there you go. Hopefully Greenville in a couple days, another camp tomorrow night, and hopefully we'll be able to find a place that's a little more friendly. Although this is a nice piece of land, it's also potentially private, as indicated. So there you go. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Have a good night, everybody.